All right, I got White Sox Vice President and General Manager Rick Hahn here. Rick and I are wearing the same shoes today, but we'll get right to it, Rick. Another prolific offseason from everybody up in the White Sox front office, and despite all the moves you made, as of now, you guys still own the 28th, what figures to be the 28th pick in the draft. What kind of impact could that have on the draft for Nick Hostetler and everyone else involved?
You know, as we sit here today, we do have 3 picks in the top 48 or so, I think we're projecting it out to be, which gives us a nice, healthy signing bonus pool, allows us to either move money up or move money back if we want to try to get different types of talent later or earlier in the draft. It just provides a great deal of flexibility. I will say that if for whatever reason we wind up without that sandwich pick or supplemental pick, we'll still have 2 in the top 50 and have ourselves a standard draft class, so to speak. The extra pick just gives you a chance to do something a little more creative if you are so inclined.
And last year, you guys saw the other side of the coin, where you lost a couple picks, but you were still able to get the most decorated college pitcher for the second year in a row in Carson Fulmer. Seeing the big rises of Carlos Rodon and Chris Sale, is there a reason that White Sox fans should be a little more cautious with Carson Fulmer?
I think we're spoiled. I think we're all spoiled. The fact of the matter is that if Carson Fulmer contributes to the Chicago White Sox in 2017, that's a really fast development path, much less 2016. But I get it, because you saw it with Rodon, you saw it with Sale, and frankly, Fulmer has similar plus stuff, is similarly polished as they were in college, and has the similar makeup that he's going to maximize his ability and his opportunities. So I get it. I just think we need to keep a little bit of perspective that Sale and Rodon are the exceptions, and Carson's going to be a good one, and he's probably going to get here fast, but that doesn't necessarily mean 16.
And moving to the international game, filling out the future Sox top prospect list, there's a lot of guys that Marco Patti has signed that are moving into the list now. Is there a few players in particular that the front office is excited about coming stateside?
Oh boy, you know what? Marco's done a fantastic job down there. I really like the first few years, how he has spread it around. We've been able to get sort of a focal point of the signings in Alfaro and Adolfo and Reyes each year, but also still rounded out with some pretty good depth. Kid Nunez had a nice debut in the States, and the fact is that I think you're going to continue to see a level of development out of these guys that shows that it's not always the big ticket guys that Marco's making his pay out of. It's also some of the lower item guys as well. So we got a couple of good classes, and now certainly with that segment it takes time, but we're starting to get a little closer to seeing some of those guys produce at full season affiliates.
And looking towards the next signing period, Baseball America has really hammered home the point that there's 10 teams that are outside of guys or that cannot sign guys with 300,000 or over bonuses. Yep. How does that affect the market as a whole?
You know, it does limit, obviously, some of the competitors for the high-ticket guys. At the same time, we've purposely not gone over in recent years because we were still building this thing up from the ground up. Obviously, it was decimated prior to Marco's arrival. We wanted to make sure we were able to sort of build up a critical mass of Latin prospects and, frankly, add a little bit of credibility to our program down there by signing a lot of good, high-caliber players. Now, with some of our teams sitting out, perhaps some of that higher-priced talent is a little more accessible, and given the amount of guys we've signed, we can at least consider the possibility of ourselves going over that pool and facing that potential penalty down the road. That's really mostly a function, though, of what players are available. It's dangerous to go in to a signing period and say we're absolutely going to spend X millions down there, because you can wind up overpaying for inferior talent if you do that. But if the players are there, we have the potential to perhaps follow that route this year.
And then just to close, more of a personal question, you broke your way into the White Sox organization when Dennis Gilbert, a former executive, he was a negotiator, so then you're a negotiator, and you made your way. And putting aside everything you did before you were GM, as GM you signed Chris Sale, Jose Quintana, Adam Eaton, and now Nate Jones to very, good contracts for both sides. Where did you pick up this craft? Is that something you learned at a sports agency or just something along the way?
It's probably a combination of the time working as a sports agent as well as the training I got with the White Sox coming up. Jerry loves to be involved in a good contract negotiation, any negotiation really for that matter, so he was a huge benefit early on in my career in terms of talking strategy and reaction and all that. I think the time on the agent side helps give I would like to believe a little bit of perspective in terms of where the player's coming from and the agent's coming from as they go through their decision making, and hopefully that level of empathy makes it so that we're able to do win-win deals.
All right, always a great interview, Rick. Thank you for the time.
You bet. Thank you.